RUTO at 3. My 3 cents opinion. I will try and talk about 3 things. 1. Success. 2. Failures. And 3. What he should do. Allow me to start with what he should do. My opinion, RUTO comes to my mind as someone who, while campaigning, had 2 opposing agendas. First, it was to speak what the voters want to hear, and once elected, I come up with a project or projects that are good for the people. I'm very much convinced about that one, that he had plans. He had plans, he had whatever, but he knew. I'm not convinced that, there are some people where after being elected, you come and realize things are different. You realize things are different. Just like the Anglican Archbishop told him that while you are campaigning, you told people A, B, C, D. Now that you have been sworn in and you have realized that kwa ground vitu ni tofauti, can you now tell people that you have realized things are different and this is how things are? That is how the Anglican Archbishop feels. But to me, no. To me, I feel that, in my opinion, is that even when he was campaigning, he had 2 programs. He wanted to do this, but he knew that if he was to tell people what he would do once elected, he would not be elected. So he had 2 opposing agendas. One that people want to hear, and the second one, once he takes over, he will ignore what people wanted to hear, but do what anything is discovering now. It is not that he's discovering now, no. From the word go, even when he was campaigning, he was just telling himself, let me tell them this and that, but when I reach there, this is what I'll do. Media houses are showing clips of what he said and what he's doing. There are those things that he really castigated vehemently when he was campaigning. But once he took over, those things that he vehemently was against while he was campaigning, but now that he's in the seat, he is doing the same. Media houses have done that. But kindly do not include this with the issue of my Mufiala or Munyoro, my Mufiala. My Mufiala gives me the impression of someone who assists you get what you want, and then he gets the impression that you are to be his slave. When he tells you, jump, you don't ask why. Why should I jump? No, you ask him, how high should I jump? You remember my Mufiala from Mamunyororo saying that he removed Uhuru from alcoholism and took him to politics. We Uhuru, we, siwe ndio nilikupata. You remember that. Right now, my Mufiala says that whoever he will give the car, Mufiala will remain with logbook. Just like people have now realized, I was the first one to realize, but people now, I realize that Raila, the last time Raila really wanted to be the president was 2007. All other subsequent elections, Raila's intention is to come out very strong and then later talk to the winner. Talk to the winner so that he keeps quiet. That is Raila's system. When it comes to Mufiala system, he wants to make you the king, he wants to be the kingmaker, and then you do what he wants. That is why he said that whoever he will give the car, Mufiala will remain with the logbook. On the other hand, while Ruto was campaigning, he promised various things, most of which he has gone against. There are some things that he was very much opposed, but right now he is. I know, I've been in the system, I know. We have professional, we have people that are called wenye inchi. Now, voters are mwananchi. People like Atwoli, people like what? These are the people, you vote for whoever you vote. After that person has taken over, then these people take over. Irrespective of whether he was supporting that person or not. Even in the civil service, especially NIS. Today, you may find the NIS is talking really bad about anybody. Raphael Saya will be talking, hey, Raphael is so much anti-government, whatever. But should Raphael Saya be elected the president of Kenya, you'll find that they'll really go to him and say, you see, we were for you and whatever, and they'll really convince him. So some of the things that Ruto did that he went against, let me start with this. Well, it is not in the order of, but you have to start somewhere. He promised not to interfere with the judiciary. Within no time, he saw in the judges that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta had refused to swear in. Today, it is possible that his bad blood with the judiciary is badder than Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. He constantly saw that the police will never be misused for political ends. So that my personal view, of which I am entitled to, is that in the last 3 years, the police have become more thuggish than any time in the last 30 years. One trick that we were played is this. There is a trick he played us. And that is why I said that what he's doing, he planned it. You see, these are the advantages and disadvantages of our alcoholic leader. At any given time, he's multitasking. So as he's talking to you, facing you, saying, I'll do this and do this and this, at the same time, in his heart, wacha tu kanichague. So that is the problem with a person who multitasks. He or she, most of them are women, but he or she can do one thing while planning and organizing 3, 4, or even 5 different things at a go. So let us see one of the tricks that we were played, and he played it very well. The 2010 Constitution of Kenya placed the National Police Service as an independent body with the functions of Public Service Commission taken over by a new body called National Police Service Commission. My viewer, and I would request you, if you find this one to be intellectual, kindly share with 5 other people. Now, this is what the National Police Service Commission was done from somebody who may not know. And I want to show you the trick that RUTO played, that even in the police service, okay, members of the National Police Service cannot talk, but in the heart, that is how they do it. To date, National Police Service has not fully taken up its National Police Service Commission has not fully taken up its mandate. You see, Public Service Commission had two professions. The teachers and the police have their services set aside. That is the Teachers Service Commission and the National Police Service Commission. You see, the Public Service Commission is supposed to handle personnel issues of all civil servants across all ministries. But it came to be discovered that teachers were so many, and their issues were unique. So even before the 2010 Constitution came up, it was discovered that teachers were so many and their issues were unique and so on. So their services was hived off the Public Service Commission, and they started Teachers Service Commission. Public Service Commission handles all civil servants except teachers. But the 2010 Constitution also saw that police were so many. Why can't we have something like the Teachers Service Commission, which will handle only the police work? And I can tell you, if there is a master stroke that RUTO did, then it is this one. So the 2010 Constitution said that just like we had the Teachers Service Commission, we should have National Police Service Commission to do that work. The Uhuru Ruto government of 2013 to 2022 did not fulfill the conditions of money following the functions. Yes, the Uhuru government started the National Police Service Commission. You remember kina Kavuludi, kina whatever. And you know, if you start, Kavuludi started with a lot of work. He started with a lot of work. If you look at the way the National Police Service Commission was to be started, it had a lot of things to do that could not be done by Kavuludi in one go. It should have been taken over by people. That is why the problem between the National Police Service and the National Police Service, no, the problem between the National Police Service and the National Police Service Commission is that before the 2010 Constitution of Kenya, the personnel issue of police, with the exception of the AP, other police formation, that is the DCI, and the general duties, which people call regular police, but they are called general duties. There were three terms of services. There was the terms of services of a subordinate officer. Those are NCOs and below. Then there was the terms of services of acting inspector to acting superintendent. These were called the inspectorate. There was the terms of service of the inspectorate. And last, there was the terms of service of gazetted officers. I will not go into those three because it will take a lot of time. But the police had three different terms of services. For example, if you are employed as a recruit, you start off with the subordinate officers' terms of services. At the time you are made a member of the inspectorate, you adopt a different. For example, a subordinate officer could be sacked by a provincial police officer. A member of the inspectorate could be sacked by the commissioner of police. And a member of the gazetted officer was to be sacked by the Public Service Commission. There's a lot of things to cover there, but let me just stop there. So the 2010 Constitution of Kenya joined the three levels. I'll repeat the three levels. the subordinate officers, the inspectorate, and the gazetted officers into one and under the National Police Service Commission. Policemen are employed and sacked by National Police Service Commission. That is what the 2010 did. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta did not let the functions follow. They did not allow the funds to follow the function. But as I've said, partly it's because the Kavuludi Commission had a lot on its plate to an extent that it could not take everything at a go. So they continued that way. Some of the work that has got to do with the personnel, because it includes the National Police Service is supposed to have the payroll. The National Police Service is supposed to have the recruiting power. We even remember there was a time when recruits were recruited, but before they went to Kiganjo, somebody took the case to court and the recruitment. Imagine somebody has been given a letter to go to Kiganjo, but the court ordered the National Police Service. Kina Kavuludi took that case to court. That the powers of recruiting people is for the National Police Service Commission. Now, what happens is this, what the court ruled. The court ruled that the National Police Service Commission is the one to recruit recruits in that course. So those people who had been recruited that time and had been given letters to go to the colleges, where their letters were declared by court to be null and void, and they started that one again. And this is what is happening again, going against a court order that happened during Kavuludi's time. The RUTO government took the budget for recruitment and gave it to the National Police, to the Inspector General. The Inspector General is still retaining the payroll. And he's saying that the National Police Service Commission can have access to the payroll if they want. Now, is that not the work of IPOA and ethics and anti-corruption, but mostly IPOA? If IPOA suspects that they are ghost cops, are they not the ones who can go to the payroll? The National Police Service Commission was given mandate by the Constitution and by a court order during, but they are reversing that. This is what Ruto said, that he will not weaponize the police. Now he has made the Inspector General go against an earlier court order. As you will see, there are things, can say, careless remarks that are made by Murkomen and Ruto. They just make careless remarks, knowing very well there are cameras there. When they said that there will be no extrajudicial killing and police will not be used. And you can see, have you ever seen, the good thing about YouTube is that you just go to that video, like the one that Kipchumba Murkomen was saying, piga ye risasi ndakutetea. Just rewind it twice and thrice. Look at the way, Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen is doing. If you are to tell somebody that is a lawyer, somebody would argue. Second, if you are to imagine that this is the person who was being harassed, just like Itumbi, there's a time police broke his leg and whatever. Now, according to Itumbi, that was bad. But today, if the police break your leg, Itumbi will consider you are the wrong one. Yani, if it happens to us, it is bad. But if the same thing happens to somebody else, what is democracy? Democracy, I may not agree with you, but I'm ready to die for defending you. When Ruto took over, he allegedly allocated them the AIE. You see, as I said that funds follow function. Funds follow function. And as I've said, that before the 2010 constitution, there were 3 types of employers in the police. Actually, even when you became an inspector, you got a different force number. You got a different force number. Those days, police were having 3 different personnel issues. They had 3 different personnel issues. The 2010 constitution consolidated the 3 into one. Now, let me take it this way, slowly. 1, the commissioner of police the provincial police officer handled those under and below the NCOs and constables, the provincial police officer. 2, the commissioner of police handled from acting inspector to acting superintendent. And 3, confirmed superintendent all the way to the commissioner of police were handled by Public Service Commission. Do you see the president anywhere there? Public Service Commission, Commissioner of Police, and PPO. Now, all this, let me take it to be files or functions. All these were consolidated into one. Instead of Uhuru consolidating them into one and giving it to Kavuludi, he never gave it to Kavuludi. He took it to his permanent secretary in his office. So, what Ruto did was that this person was a senior assistant. This person was the AIE holder, was the assistant AIE holder in the office of the president. So what Ruto did was to upgrade this person. This is just like, what do we call? 2 neighboring police offices. In one office is a police station. Then neighboring that police station is a police post. Now the government comes, you see this police post is under this police station. Just like RUTO police station was a police post under Karen police station. And both were under Langata police division. Now we reached a place, I don't know which year it was, RUTO police station, RUTO police post was made a police station. So both the RUTO police station and Karen police station were answerable to Langata police division. That is what happened. That the person in charge of personnel of police officers, after consolidating the 3, after consolidating one from the PPO, after consolidating the one from the commissioner of police, and after consolidating the one in Public Service Commission, now this person came and it was a police post under the office of the president, under the Public Service Commission. But no, the Uhuru government did this. They made it a full function like Public Service Commission, but under the office of the president. Just like Riruta was now a police station under Langata Police Division. That is what Uhuru did. What did Uhuru made it a police post. He made the National Police Service Commission be a police post of the Public Service Commission. But what did Ruto do? Among the 3 things that Ruto did upon being sworn in, he made the AIE holder of the National Police Service be within the office of the president. But this person still reports to the office of the president, even as I shoot this thing. He's doing the, is it a she or a he? But let us say he is doing the duties of the National Police Service Commission. Why don't you transfer the function to Yuda Komora? Just hand over the function to Yuda Komora. That one particular person, there, if you took more than half of your cabinet and made them your advisors, you can even take that person and haizi kosa pahali pa kupelekwa. Now to the point that William Samuel Ruto saw that the police would never be used for political means. Things such as, do you remember Rivayala? If you look at the people whom Uhuru used the police against, were mostly with political inclination. There are people who had political inclinations, both Kenyans and foreigners. For example, Ruto brought in experts from abroad to monitor that his election is not stolen. Those experts were taken to see their maker. They had political inclination. They were killed so that not to notice when Ruto's votes are being stolen, isn't it? But let us look at the way the police are now being used by Ruto government. There is a young man in Kandui, Bungoma. There's a young boy who in Kandui who opened a social media page to castigate Ruto. He called himself Lies the Filth, Lies the Filth, Uongo Mchafu in Kiswahili. This was to rename the president, and he even put there his picture. To rename that, you see, Ruto is Rais the Fifth, the fifth president. So he changed that and started calling it Lies the Filth, Uongo Mchafu. Detectives left Nairobi to arrest him. They left Nairobi all the way to Kandui. I don't know whether the case is still active or anything. And they even tricked him and said he's talking well. Can you give us your telephone number so that we send you money? He gave them his telephone number, fell for the trick. And one day he hid in Kandui. He saw some suspicious vehicle and knew that those are the people who are looking for him. But later on, he was arrested. So these people went to Kandui. These people went to Bungoma Junction, the junction of Bungoma on the Uganda Road, all the way from Nairobi, and camped in Kandui in Bungoma, looking for that one boy. Why? I've also said that Jinsi, anyway, they have problems. But then the government sent a vehicle with the detective. They went all the way to Bungoma, looked for him. If you look in the YouTube, you can see how the Bungoma boy was arrested by undercover cops. The second one, similar case, is that one of Albert Ojwang. The late Albert Ojwang wrote issues that did not please the Deputy Inspector General. A detachment of detectives went to Nyanza, and the rest is history. As an NIS emeritus, I am aware through a photocopy of such a complaint made to Kiambu Road. The circumstances are similar to the two cases. I have a photocopy of that. But Kiambu Road Director of Legal Affairs, he is on the first floor. If you enter the reception, you go to the right. From the reception, you move to the right and go to the Director of Legal Affairs. You'll find that the photocopy of the letter that came to my hand is a case where cases are similar circumstances to the two. But the cases that I'm going to comment about Kiambu Road is even more serious, because when this Kandui boy wrote against the president, he wrote, he didn't write under his real name. No, he didn't write under his real name. He wrote lies the filth. So they took a lot of time to find him out. They took a lot of energy and a lot of whatever to find him. And they moved from Nairobi to Bungoma to arrest him. The same applies to the late Albert Ojwang. Late Albert Ojwang, he's the one who brought up a certain narrative, and some other people copied it. I think somebody in, is it Bomet? Somebody in Bomet, Sotik or something, forwarded that thing. They went to that person. They went all the way to Sotik to find out who that person is. The Sotik person told them, this is a story that emanated from this person. They looked for that person and went all the way. You can see the effort that has been put when the president is maligned. You can see the effort used when the deputy inspector general is maligned. But the circumstances that I'm saying, where the director of legal affairs advised the affected person that it is a civil matter and that he should sue the person maligning. Remember, in this case, it is not the complainant who says an unknown person is. This is a case where a case was handed over to the legal director of. I went there for my other issues, but you see, Kacheru ni Kacheru. But then I came across a photocopy of that document, where it is said so and so did this, and this person is called so and so. He's using his real name and his telephone number. 2 telephone numbers are this and this, and it's just found in Kiambu. So the director of legal affairs in the Mazingira house opined that that was a civil case, and they can imagine he's been given everything. This is so and so. This is where he stays in Kino in Kiambu. You can go and get him. These are his 2 telephone numbers and whatever. So to them, driving all the way from Kiambu Road to Kino in Kiambu is very far. But driving all the way to Rongo, or driving all the way to Kandui, it happens because the 2 complainants are senior officers. So you can see the complaint that dealt with the Kandui boy was not sued in a civil case. Albert's issue was not sued in a civil case. But this one, where all the things are there, even the picture of the person. You see, when they were going to Kandui, as I've said, they passed, that boy was hiding somewhere. He saw the vehicle passing, and he saw this was a suspicious vehicle. It must be the vehicle that is looking for me. So they were looking for somebody. They had no idea how he looks like. But and the same applies to Ojwang. But let us take the case of the fellow in Kino, Kiambu. Just because the person who was complaining was not in the government system, he was told that is a civil. Now, how the Kandui case was not taken as a civil case, how Albert Ojwang was not taken as a civil case, we can only conclude that the complainant had access to the government. Remember, a TV station showed the CBD with plenty of security personnel, and the DIG AP was denying it. There's an occasion where the whole CBD was swarming with security personnel. And when it was swarming with security personnel, uh, a journalist asked Masengeli how the CBD was. And Masengeli would say that the CBD is okay and things are. Now, if we have reached such a place where you see things are different and you just deny the obvious, it reminds me of Sabasaba in 1990, where the KBC then went to Kamukunji. They were supposed to go to Kamukunji. They went to Kamukunji, recorded Kamukunji people doing their own things normally, recorded that. Then on the Sabasaba day, Kamukunji was filled with security personnel, and KBC was airing on TV that Kamukunji is just okay. People have ignored the mambo ya demonstration and some people went there now. You see, Kamukunji is like Uhuru Park. People now wanted to go there and relax, and they were beaten up by the police. I don't know whether that is where we have gone back. I want to enter the where I started. When campaigning, William Samoei Ruto gave the impression of a consultative leader. Right now, he has equal or even more advisors than the last three presidents combined. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, the more you consult, the better. But not with a leader who swears that nobody will change his target. You see, he has already made a decision. This is what I'm going to do. So he's somebody, when you have made an idea, why should you have advisors then? Rumors has it that he advises his advisors on what to advise him. Oh. How can I pen off the 3 years without talking about the Gene C, the abduction, the shoot to kill by Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen, and shoot in the leg by William Samoei Ruto? Sincerely, for those who have been watching my videos, may have noticed that around the two orders of shooting, one which was saying shoot to kill and the other one was shoot in the leg, that is the time when I started toying around with the idea for voting for the other 5 positions, and in the next election, not vote for, leave the ballot paper blank so that it is counted as a rejected vote. Shooting to kill or shooting in the leg was very much unwise. Police should only use such force if they cannot arrest those youths. This is what I was taught in 1982. Can I say 83? Because I joined Kiganjo on November 27th. So December, I think by 1983 is when I now was started being taught what police is. Police should only use such force if they cannot arrest the youths. If a person is burning or attempts to burn a police station, either attempts to burn a police station or burns the police station, the effort of the police officer is to arrest that person in the holistic nature of that person. But the person may overwhelm the police. Either they are many or he's stronger than the police officer. We have some police officers who are about to retire, And we have Gen Zs who every day they are in the, what do you call, they are in the gym. Such a person, when confronted, you try to arrest him. If in the process of trying to arrest him, or you indicate you want to arrest him, he resists that, then you can use whatever force. The force would start with the handcuffs, and it would even mean shooting to kill. The only dictation of shooting in the leg or shooting to kill is that that is the minimum force. That is the minimum force. Sometimes we were told in Kiganjo as recruits that the minimum force sometimes is the only force. There are times when, in your opinion, in the army you don't make a decision. It is your commander who makes a decision. Let me give you an example of the army. They wanted to shoot down the plane carrying Ochuka. But the commander, after staying for long without bathing, without whatever, he took those few minutes to go and bathe. When he came back, he was being told of a plane that has taken off. He said, shoot it. But by then the plane was already in Tanzania. It was already in Tanzania. If he would not have taken bath that day, if he would have just been next to his walkie-talkie, he would have been told that it is believed that that plane is in the wrong hands, and they would have shot it down. And remember, the people who are piloting those planes are commissioned officers. They cannot decide to bring that plane down unless the commander himself decides. The Air Force commander, was it the Air Force, the base commander? Take it to the police. A recruit from Kiganjo, 2 weeks old, he sees a bandit. He forms an opinion that the minimum force I can use is to kill this person. I'll tell you one. We used to complain of some security companies which were putting on uniform similar to the police, but we were being told some of these security companies are owned by very senior government officials. The police cannot tell them not to put on those uniforms. One time there was a robbery, and the watchman came out like any other person to see what was happening. And since his uniform resembled that of a police officer, he was shot and killed. That is what I want to say, that in the army, you don't pull the trigger until somebody up there decides for you. In the police, you pull the trigger, but it is upon you to determine if that was the minimum force. If that was the minimum force. If you determine that that is the minimum force, you use that one. So, a decision as to whether to shoot in the leg or shoot to kill should be done by the police officer on the ground at the spur of the moment. Police should only use such force if they cannot arrest the youth. As I've said before, I'd rather aim in the stomach than in the leg. Because as a technical person, I'll tell you, shooting in the leg, chances of missing are very high. Imagine shooting at somebody who's burning the police station. You miss and it hits an innocent bystander. Hapo ndio tumefika. Punitive things such as the outlawed corporal punishment, hanging, which is outlawed, killing or something, or even using a baton to hit the demonstrators or should only be made. No, what I'm saying that punitive, which is permanent, punitive things such as shoot to kill and others, should only be made by a competent court of law. Court of law, not instructions from a minister who talks in front of the camera, says nitakutetea, but then I was very fast on the video and then akaruka. Imagine, it is good that aliruka before any police would have done that, because you would have been hanged alone. A police officer should convince himself or herself that the only way to restrain the mob is by using the bullet and not under instructions of politicians. That is why for a police officer to reach the ultimate thing, of pulling the trigger, he has been given a lot of options. He has been given a button, gonga hiyo watu na rungu. He has been given tear gas. He has been given blank bullets. He has been given rubber bullets. He has been given live bullets. You can see, for all those things, how many have we counted? Baton, that is 1. Tear gas, that is 2. Blank bullets, that is 3. 4 is rubber bullet, and 5, he has been given 5. But if things are so urgent, he could, depending on the environment, you can just go straight to number 3 or number 4 or even number 6. It is upon the circumstances and the person facing to do that. You don't do that because your minister has done that. The police said publicly that the abducted boys would be released, but their parents should advise and counsel them. I have issues with the Gen Z. People know that. But I'm the only old man that they listen to, which I'm grateful. I don't take that one for granted. You see, when you have, in my village, there is somebody they used to call Kazibure, because you'll waste your time trying to reason with him. So Gen Z is also a Kazibure generation. But when they reach somewhere and say that you are the only old man that we listen to, that one I feel great. I feel great. That is why, should there be a chance, I will talk to them through this channel. But should there be a chance where we have something like town hall meetings or anything, I can volunteer to say. You see, when somebody gives you an opportunity to talk to him, even if he disregards what you tell him, that giving you the opportunity, you should be grateful to that. And by us in the NIS, we are taught, we are trained that once we have advised you, we have discharged our mandate. We don't force you to follow what we have advised you. So I have issues with Gen Z, and the issue that they believe that the wisdom started and ended up with them. They believe that if you are not a Gen Z, then you lack wisdom. But this cannot stop me from talking to them. For failure is failing to talk to them. But talking to them and they disregard is not a failure, at least on my part. If you check my past recordings, I had castigated much doubts on both Morara and Kasamuel. I'd said Morara and Kasamuel, I doubted them. I said that a long time. In fact, my video was saying that you are not. I said you are not. You are not tomboy. I'm the first person to say that Kasamuel is not tomboy. Now everybody is saying Kasamuel is not tomboy. If you check the comment section of those videos, you will see how many Gen Z castigated me for being envious of young and upcoming youth leaders. I had also talked about Raila Amolo Odinga in my upload named Committee Secrets, that Raila does not want to be talked. But I don't understand how William Samuel Ruto would expect a child of 30 years. I don't understand how Ruto would take a child of 30 years. Imagine, as a parent, you give birth to a child, you bring up the child for 30 years. Then how will it take their parents 30 days to make them go back to... Yani, Ruto was saying that he's going to release the Gen Z from abduction, but he's giving them to the parents to cancel them. If a parent has been with that kid for 30 years and the parent has been unable to mold the kid in the proper way, how do you expect the same parent to mold the very same kid in 30 days? It's impossible. Well, one thing I would tell the president, because I've talked of extensively of everything, I've not covered on his successes. That is what I'll cover, and then ends today's podcast. What I would say is that it is true that the president has said that he will bite the bullet. And when he says he'll bite the bullet, no other better time than you see he has no competition for the next election. He has no competition. I don't even know why he's in the campaign mood. He has no competition. Look at the forthcoming by elections. Uh, Let me give an example where I come from. I come from a place called Matete sub-county. Now, Malava constituency, there are only 2 horses. The others are donkeys. We have a lawyer called Busieka, and then an MCA called. We have a lawyer called Busieka, and we have an MCA called David Dakwa. When we started these Mulolongo elections, the intention was to reduce and make serious election campaign be a 2 or 3 persons, serious persons, but I've identified only those 2 as serious candidates. Others are punda. Hawa wawili ndio farasi. So you find that if Busieka will fail, he'll fail in a large part because of the internal. You can see how Malala, instead of campaigning for Busieka, he was talking of DAP being a Bukusu party. And DAP is going around saying DCP is a Mrima party. So, in the next elections, in the 27th November by-elections, the opposition will be affected negatively a lot because of what? They'll be affected negatively because of their internal fighting. So the best thing that the president has done in the 3 years is that he has addressed issues. He has realistically done that. But you see, if you have seen a movie called Gods Must Be Crazy, there is a white woman who finds a cook, an African cook, trying to scramble eggs using a fork. Then she gives him that machine that makes the scrambling quicker and easier. Once she leaves, the African goes back to the fork, what he's used to. Sometimes when you may try to assist somebody, but the way you assist somebody, I know somewhere where there is a picture in the social media where a leopard has its face covered in a sufuria. Now, you come and take out that sufuria. What will happen to the leopard? The leopard will kill you. So the president has decided to take things head on. He has even, which is good, he has even said that it is easier for him some of these problems to put forward. It is easier for him to go and he has decided that we are going to reduce and pay for the taxes and whatever and finish it off during his tenure. He says that it is easier for him to pass the buck to the sixth president, and the sixth would to the future generation. That is the good thing about him. But the bad thing about him, I've already talked extensively, and I will not repeat it. So what I would advise the president is that with no serious person to oppose you, don't be in a campaign mood. I think you only took 3 weeks after being sworn in to start a campaign mood. Just do your things. Uh, just like Mufiala told you, there is no time that Kibaki ever stood in public and said, I've done a lot of development or whatever. But ask anybody today who is the best president, even up to this very same moment. You'll find that everybody will say, without any doubt, everybody will say that Kibaki is the best president. Just do your work. Don't start saying that I've done this and that. And that is all. Thank you.